The sun burned low over the dry plains of Dustwell, painting the town in shades of gold and sorrow. The wind carried with it the scent of hunger and the faint echo of broken dreams. At the edge of the main street, in front of a worn-out store with shattered windows, stood a little girl no older than 6. Her dress was faded rose, stitched too many times by trembling hands. In her tiny palm rested a golden ring, her mother's wedding ring, the last piece of beauty they had left. Her blue eyes shimmered not with innocence, but with quiet desperation. "Ma said we need bread today," she whispered to herself, staring at the ring as if it could whisper back hope. Her mother, weary and pale, stood nearby, her face half hidden under a torn shawl. She hadn't eaten properly in days, and her trembling hands couldn't hold the basket steady anymore. The town folks had grown cruel, too busy surviving to spare kindness. The blacksmith turned his eyes away. The baker shut his door. Even the preacher crossed the street pretending not to see. That was Dustwell, merciless, hungry, and hollow. The little girl, Lily, didn't cry. She just waited, hoping someone would see her. That's when he arrived. A tall man on a dark brown stallion, dust swirling around his boots as he dismounted. His hat cast a shadow over eyes that had seen too much of the world, eyes that didn't miss pain when they saw it. His name was Wade Callahan, a rancher who owned more land than most men could ride across in a week. But behind his wealth was a loneliness deeper than the canyon ridges. Years ago he had lost his wife and child to fever, and though he had gold, he had no reason to smile. As he walked toward the store, he saw her, Lily, clutching the ring as if it were her soul. "How much for the ring, little one?" Wade's voice was soft, not like the rough tones of the townsfolk. Lily looked up, startled, then tightened her grip on the ring. "It was my mama's," she said quietly. "But we need food. Bread, milk, maybe a little sugar if we can." Wade knelt down, the leather of his coat creaking softly. He studied her face, then looked at the woman behind her, the mother, fragile but proud. "You shouldn't be selling memories to fill an empty stomach," he said. "But I'll buy it, for more than it's worth." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small leather pouch. It jingled heavy with coins. Lily's eyes widened as he handed it to her. She stared at it like it was the sun itself. But before she could offer him the ring, Wade gently pushed her hand back. "Keep it," he said with a small smile. "Your mama's love isn't for sale." The mother gasped, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Sir, we can't accept charity," she said in a trembling voice. "Ma'am," Wade replied, "I'm not giving charity. I'm just buying a promise that you'll keep going, that you'll let that little girl smile again." The mother nodded, unable to speak. Wade stood and tipped his hat. "I'll have supplies sent to your home," he said before walking away. But Lily's voice stopped him. "Mister, where's your home?" she asked. Wade turned back and said quietly, "A place too big for one heart." Then he mounted his horse and rode off into the fading sun. That night, Lily and her mother ate real food for the first time in weeks. Bread warm from the oven, milk white as morning, and a little bit of sugar that made Lily giggle with joy. Her mother smiled through her tears, clutching the ring close to her chest. "That cowboy, he saved us," she whispered. And far away, in a cabin lit by the glow of a single lantern, Wade Callahan stared at the same moon, wondering why a little girl's eyes haunted him so deeply. For the first time in years, he whispered a prayer, not for himself but for them. Days turned into weeks, and the town began to whisper. Some said the rich cowboy had taken pity on a widow. Others said he was foolish, throwing his gold away on lost causes. But Wade didn't care for gossip. He couldn't forget that child's trembling voice or the way she had looked at him with both fear and hope. So one morning before dawn, he rode back to Dustwell. He didn't tell anyone why. He just had a plan forming in his heart, a plan to give them something they had lost long ago: dignity. When he reached the edge of the town, he found Lily again. She was sitting outside their small shack, drawing in the dust with a stick. "Morning, sunshine," he said softly, and her eyes lit up like a sunrise. "Mister, you came back," she shouted, running toward him. Her mother appeared in the doorway, her dress cleaner now, her face showing signs of hope. Wade dismounted and handed Lily a paper bag filled with sweets. "Got these for you," he said, pretending not to notice her excitement. Then he turned to her mother. "Ma'am, I've got something to show you," he said. She hesitated but nodded. Together, they rode out of town, Lily sitting in front of Wade on the saddle, her laughter filling the air like music. After a few miles, they reached a small clearing by the river. There stood a wooden cabin, newly built, strong and shining in the morning light. Smoke curled from the chimney, and wildflowers grew by the steps. "What's this?" the mother whispered, covering her mouth. Wade took off his hat and smiled. "It's yours," he said simply. The woman shook her head in disbelief. We can't accept this." Wade stepped closer. "You can. You earned it. That ring you were willing to give away? It showed me something. You'd give up everything for your child. That's the kind of love this world needs more of. I've got more than I can spend in a lifetime. But this feels like the right way to use it." Lily ran into the cabin, her laughter echoing off the walls. She found a small bed by the window and shouted, "Mama, I have my own bed." Her mother burst into tears, falling to her knees. Wade gently helped her up. "You don't owe me a thing," he said softly. "Just promise me one thing. Teach her to keep that kindness alive." As the days passed, Wade visited often. He brought books for Lily, seeds for the garden, and stories from the trails. Slowly a bond grew, one made not of blood but of grace. The people of Dustwell began to change too. Inspired by Wade's act, they started helping one another again, sharing food, rebuilding homes, and remembering that compassion was worth more than gold. One evening, as the sun sank low and fireflies danced over the grass, Lily handed Wade the ring. "Mama says you should have it," she said, "for helping us." Wade knelt down, his eyes wet. "No, sweetheart," he said, gently closing her hand over it. "You keep it. Someday you'll give it to someone who needs to be reminded that hope still exists." Years later, when Lily grew up, people would still tell the story of the little girl who tried to sell her mother's ring, and the cowboy who bought her a home instead. And every time someone passed that cabin by the river, they would smile, knowing that in a world of hunger and greed, one act of kindness had changed everything. So, dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, remember this: kindness doesn't need gold, just courage. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that warm the soul, because somewhere out there, another Lily and Wade are waiting for a little bit of hope to find them.